n'y a point de fraude. Chaque objet se meut par sa propre volonté. Et ainsi se produit la plus prodigieuse des choses qui soit donnée à percevoir sur la terre comme dans l'univers. La sensation d'avoir pleinement mérité sa situation géographique invoque en chaque être la volonté d'un accomplissement ontologique. Car l'honneur que la création nous renvoie se répercute sur une population plus globale. Il est donc urgent de développer la réflexion paramétaphorique.
Hey guys, how's it going? I'm here in Northern California. That is Highway 20 going east into Central California towards Sacramento, the capital of California, and going west towards the coast, the beautiful Mendocino County coast. I'm near the town of Ukiah, where my mom lives, which is the county seat of Mendocino County here. I've been back in California just a few days. This is the area where I was raised, in the town of Willits, north of here about 20 miles. Outside of that little town, like out in the woods. And so I'm visiting my mom and stepdad, who are going on a vacation, leaving tomorrow morning, and then I have the house to myself for the next couple of weeks. So that was one of the reasons that I came back from my trip to Europe when I did, was to take advantage of this time to have a regular house to myself for a little while. So looking forward to that. And so I'm walking over to Lake Mendocino, a big reservoir over here. And normally you can drive along this road and just drive like right up to the lake, but it was blocked off because the campground was closed, which is straight up ahead here. Should be there in a couple of minutes, and so you'll probably see that in the course of this video, and then show the lake. It is spring weather here in California, a bit of everything, sun out there, some raindrops coming down right now. And so some of you will have seen my video that I recorded in my storage space in Portland, Oregon. That was like a couple of weeks ago now that I filmed that. I will post this video probably today or tomorrow, so it is current. I finally sort of caught up with things. I was in Oregon for 2 weeks there, traveling around visiting friends and family. And so while I was in my storage space there, then one of the things that I did was I pulled out my old photo albums and flipped through them and took digital photos with my camera of a bunch of old photos from my travels from as long ago as 3 decades ago, and covering like 18 years of my travels before I started doing YouTube. So to put things in perspective, then if you are like one of my oldest subscribers and subscribed like way back in 2012 when I only had like 100 subscribers, and then you've been following my travels ever since then, even if you've been watching my videos that whole time, that only accounts for like 1/5 of my traveling experiences. My first world travels, you could say, started in the summer of 1989 when I was 17 years old. I had just graduated from high school. I graduated from high school a year early because I skipped 8th grade. And as a high school graduation gift, then my mom paid for a trip for myself and my mom and my brother to Kauai, Hawaii in June of 1989. And so that isn't, out of the country. But that summer I also did a 3-week outward bound backpacking and rock climbing course. It was a 3-week wilderness adventure fully in the backcountry of the Sierra Nevada mountains of California, and it is kind of a organization that like is more for like inner city youth or whatever, give them a outdoors experience in nature, and you know, give them some lessons in life and skills. And that doesn't apply to me because I was raised in the woods already, but I wanted to do this course and do this like epic backpacking trip that went like off the trails. We were off trails for most of the time, and then there was rock climbing along the way. We did like 3 or 4 different rock climbs, so we would like hike to these areas and then find these rock climbing, you know, cliffs way out in the woods there, and do the rock climb. It was like a group of 20 people or something, and then 2 instructors, and so it was really awesome time. And so you could kind of say that that was the beginning of my you know, travels around the world, although the next summer, 1990, is when I flew to London, England, the day after I turned 18, and started my, you know, real world travels, and spent the summer traveling around Europe, hitchhiking all over the United Kingdom, and then taking trains throughout Europe and stuff like that. And so that is the check-in office there for the campground. So walking into the campground now, and out there you can see the lake. I'll get a better view of it in a second. And so before I started shooting videos, I didn't have a video camera when I was traveling way back then, and so I was taking pictures and I made photo albums. And so I have all these photo albums in my storage space there, and I had wanted to tell some old travel stories of mine from that time, way back when I was kind of more traveling around the US and stuff, but also some international travels as well. And I wanted to tell those stories with some pictures to go along with it. And so while I was there at my storage space, then I went through the photo albums and took a bunch of photos. And so in this video that I'm just going to show the pictures without telling the stories, and then in the future then I will tell some, you know, travel stories and go more in depth into some of my past experiences. But I thought that I would just kind of give a little taste of things for now. And so coming up then is going to be a series of photos of mine, starting with that trip to Kauai, Hawaii in June of 1989. And this was my first time to Hawaii, and one of the things that we did was we went to the Kauai Trail. Some of you might remember that, and not this exact time. Of course, I haven't you know, shot any video or anything of that. But we hiked along the first couple of miles of the Kauai Trail, which is along the coast of Kauai, and it then arrives at a campground after 11 miles. We didn't go that far, we just went a couple of miles in with my mom and my brother. And as you might know, if you've read my book, Following My Thumb, or seen my video, a couple of videos that I have of different trips that I hiked out there, then I did that full hike out there to the campground. And I actually lived out there for a total of about 3 months over the course of different trips there. I've been there like 7, 8, 9 times, something like that. And the first time that I hiked out there was in 1997, when I went to Hawaii for 2 months, you know, bare bones budget travel, just a backpack and a tent and camping. You know, stayed in a hostel like a couple of nights maybe, but mostly I ended up living out in the Kauai Valley for like 5 weeks that time. All right, almost over to the lake here. And so the series of photos is going to cover from 1989 until 2008, which was the last time that I did a trip without a digital camera. And then it was later in 2009 that I started recording my first videos on a trip to Greece, Egypt, and Turkey for 4.5 months in the fall of 2009. And so these pictures will fill in some of the gaps of my other traveling adventures for almost 2 decades, up to getting started with the YouTube thing. Here we go, Lake Mendocino. Pretty big lake, as you can see. The dam of the reservoir is straight out there. I can see it there. But coming next, in the coming, you know, weeks or months or whatever, then I will tell more in-depth stories about many of these experiences. Also, then I will plug my book, Following My Thumb, A Decade of Unabashed Wanderlust. Check the link down below. That book is 26 autobiographical travel stories of mine, covering much of these adventures from 1990 to 2000 when I went to India for the first time. And so check the link down below if you want to grab a copy of that book. And so coming up are 2 decades of adventure travel, starting with beautiful Kauai, Hawaii. Here we go.